All right, good evening, everybody. David Paul with you in the KHOU 11 Weather Center on what has already been a busy Monday, especially for Central Texas as far as severe weather goes. Here in Southeast Texas, Houston, we've had a lot of light rain. It's been very windy today. So far, we've avoided the severe weather, but we're moving into a window where our western counties are going to be under a tornado threat for the next several hours, and then the entire area will be under a flash flooding threat as we head through the overnight into tomorrow morning. That being said, here's our map of warnings and watches, and the green is a flood watch in effect till 7 o'clock. That includes Houston, Harris County, basically everybody along I-10 and north of I-10. You're included in that flash flood watch. We may see several inches of rain overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, especially from midnight on to about 7 a.m. Then our western counties, the yellow area, that's a tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock tonight, and our western counties are included in that. That's Colorado County, where Columbus is, Austin County, New Ulm, Cat Spring, Industry, Brenham in Washington County, Navasota, Beat Eyes in Grimes County, and then off to the west, including Bryan College Station and folks to the west, LaGrange. That is your tornado watch in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. So what does the radar look like? Well, very busy in Central Texas where that tornado watch is. Here in Houston, Southeast Texas, we've had mostly just light rain and some drizzle. And now that I say that, I see one thunderstorm. Good evening, Livingston. You're now getting a thunderstorm. It doesn't look severe, but it's an indication that even here in Southeast Texas now, we're beginning to become more unstable. And I think the weather in Houston and Southeast Texas, our television viewing area, is going to get a whole lot more active here over the next several hours. Off to the west, we've got some very strong and severe thunderstorms, and you can see multiple tornado warnings in effect for these thunderstorm cells off to the west. In particular, this thunderstorm cell, which is showing signs of rotation just to the southwest of Giddings, we're watching that carefully. We've sent the new member of the KHOU 11 weather team, Pat Kavlin, in our weather tracker, and he is out here just to the east of this thunderstorm cell, which he just reported back to me what he's seeing. He's here near Warda looking to the west, and he can see a tremendous amount of cloud to ground lightning, a beautiful looking supercell thunderstorm. He does not see a tornado at the moment, actually see one visibly, but this is the type of cell that can produce a tornado off and on very, very quickly because it has internal rotation. And from time to time, we've seen that twisting pattern in the radar returns. That's what's called a hook echo. We're getting a little bit of a hook right now. It's not overly pronounced, but it's certainly possible that that one could be producing a tornado right now. And so that is just off to the west of our television viewing area, but I know there are many, many of you who watch us outside of that. And so that's the active tornado warning that is closest to Brenham right now. Here's a little broader view. And this storm is racing northeast at about 35 miles an hour. Here's Brenham, Carmine, Somerville. Giddings is in the path of that tornadic thunderstorm cell as it crosses Highway 77 here in the next few minutes. And look at the tremendous amount of cloud to ground lightning with that. So it's a very intense storm. And sometimes these storms they'll organize, they'll spin, they'll create a tornado. It'll drop down, do some damage for maybe just a few minutes, sometimes just a few seconds, and then lift right back up as that rotation is disrupted just a little bit, then reform and then form another one as it kind of skips along and moves along. And so that's the one we're watching there. Tim Pandagis is sitting right next to me. What do we got, Tim?
Looks like they may issue another tornado watch extending farther south into Houston.
Okay.
95% chance.
Okay, so Tim is keeping up with the Storm Prediction Center, and he's just giving me new information that they are considering expanding this tornado watch further to the east to perhaps include the immediate Houston area. So we'll wait and see how that pans out and how that comes out. At the moment, very quiet in Houston. All the severe weather and all the multiple tornado-warned thunderstorm cells are out to the west, right along Highway 77 now. But they're all working their way northeast at about 30 miles an hour or so. So this one has a chance of perhaps clipping Washington County, maybe just north of Brenham. This one has the chance of clipping the Bryan College Station area. At the moment, there are no severe weather warnings in Southeast Texas proper. But again, Colorado, Austin, Washington, and Grimes County all in that tornado watch. And as Tim Panday, just sitting next to me, just told me, he's looking at the SPC Storm Prediction Center, and they're considering adding a chunk of Southeast Texas, including perhaps the Houston area, in that tornado watch, and that would extend later into the evening. And the reason they are doing that is because as you look off to our south and west, we've still got storms developing down here. And if those were to develop and keep going and get strong, they could move right into the heart of Houston and southeast Texas, given several more hours. Look at all the tornado warning storms between Austin and Bryan College Station. We have multiple reports of damage. We have lots of pictures and video to show you. I'm just letting you know at the 10 o'clock news tonight, we'll be sharing all the storm video from across Texas with you. There is a bunch of it to show. And so this is where we stand right now with our line of thunderstorms here in central Texas, working its way slowly to the northeast, and we're watching carefully our northwest counties for potential storms as it moves in that direction. I do want to zoom in though. This is one little intense storm here up near Lake Livingston. So Livingston, it's a strong thunderstorm. We've had 2 lightning strikes here in the last 10 minutes, nope, 3. So there is some lightning and thunder with it. The reason we watch for that is when I see lightning start to show up in these thunderstorm cells, it tells me that they're convective. There's up and down motion inside that storm. That's when you know the storms are getting more intense, and if that updraft can get strong enough, it can tap into a jet stream which is just racing overhead, and that can cause the storm to go through very explosive development very rapidly. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on that. Otherwise, right now, Houston, very, very quiet. Zooming out, here's the bigger picture. So this is all being kicked off ahead of a vigorous springtime storm system. We've got low pressure at the surface, we've got a surface frontal boundary, and all of that is pushing into this deep moisture that's been coming off the Gulf of Mexico ahead of it all day long. You noticed how windy it was today. We had wind gusts to 40 miles an hour or above with all that deep tropical moisture coming off the Gulf of Mexico. And so that has energized and just fed lots of fuel right into East Texas for that front to plow into, lift, and help to create thunderstorms. That's what's going on at the surface. Look at what's going on at the top of the atmosphere. So this is the wind flow now at 34,000 feet. And that is a very well-defined, very deep upper level trough. These are your storm makers. On the windward side of the trough, you don't have any type of divergence. The winds are all blowing right together. But on the lee side of the trough, on the east side of the trough, this being the center of the trough, you get winds that quite often will begin to spread out. They'll diverge. At 34,000 feet, when winds are spreading, when they're diverging, it creates empty space in between the air molecules, and that's a vacuum. Sucks that air up. That causes that convection, those storms to grow vertically, and that's what can allow a storm to utilize all the energy, all the moisture available in that vertical column of atmosphere, and that's what can help to cause storms to become very, very severe. So how is this jet stream going to evolve? Well, here we are going into 8 o'clock, and the deepest divergence is up here in North Texas, but quite often you'll get storms that develop right in here as the winds are accelerating. As they accelerate, they also create space, empty space, create a vacuum as it's accelerating. And that's why we've got this development off to our west. It's right here, just upstream of that divergence. That's now through 8, 9, 10 o'clock. But what we're concerned about is that this tornadic threat is going to evolve into perhaps a flash flooding threat overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Because as we head into 3 a.m., look what happens. Look how the jet stream pattern evolves. Where's the divergence? I mean, it's right overhead. So if we get development here that moves right into that type of split jet environment, not only could that produce severe thunderstorms overnight tonight, wind, hail, heavy rain, lightning, thunder, tornadoes, but it could also make the atmosphere very, very efficient at wringing out all of that moisture through the vertical column, and that's what can cause flash flooding. That is what can cause rainfall rates to be so high, 2, 3, 4 inches per hour. Now, we can take several inches of rain. We've been relatively dry. Looking at Harris County Flood Control flash flood guidance indicates that if we can take probably 4, 5, 6 inches of rain in most spots before we went into any type of situation where the bayous were really starting to react and get up near bank full. So we can take several inches of rain. And just looking at the latest computer output on how much rain we're going to get overnight, it's not overly bullish. It's got 1 to 2 inches in most areas. The thing is, these computer models are not always getting all the different aspects that are going on with the atmosphere, and I'm concerned that this is too low. Just looking at that jet stream pattern, looking at how much moisture is available in the atmosphere, there's a ton. If we get storms developing in that split jet regime, we could easily see many spots that get 5 inches, 6 inches, 7 inches of rain overnight tonight. We've seen this before. So we're going to be watching the rain totals very, very carefully overnight and into the morning commute. And it's a morning commute where you do not want to get up and get going before you check in with us. Of course, we're going on the air early in the morning on the TV side at 4 o'clock. Jen, Cheetah, and Kim will all be in covering all the weather and traffic issues, and there may be a bunch of them. So this evening is just simple. We're on severe weather watch together, and we're going to watch it very carefully as it evolves. One more look at the radar before we let you go for this update. And here's the latest. With Houston right now, scattered showers, breezy, damp, but violent thunderstorms off to our west. And you can see those moving off to the northeast at about 30, 35 miles an hour. So I'm just going to draw these arrows so we can see where it's headed. Racing northeast. So it will be very interesting if this cell clips Brenham. We'll watch for that possibility. It looks like if they continue that tornado warning, it will include portions of Washington County. We'll watch it carefully. If it holds together, it could reach northern Grimes County, Navasota, keeping an eye on you as well. And if you've got a son or daughter up at Bryan College Station, just tell them to stay inside tonight and study. No need to go outside. Just let that storm come through. It's the safest place to be. That's where we stand right now. We'll have more updates this evening. And at 10 o'clock on the TV side, we're already efforting. The newsroom is abuzz with all the different pictures and video coming in from across the state. We've got tornado damage up near Dallas, tornado damage up and down the I-35 corridor. And we'll bring those pictures to you and have a complete weather update. Tim Pantages and I will both be doing team weather at 10 o'clock. Be very interesting to see. As I mentioned, we've got Pat Cavlin, our new meteorologist. He's out here. He is chasing this thunderstorm cell just west of Brenham right now. We'll have pictures from him. So we'll see you for a live update on the TV side at 10 o'clock tonight.